Welcome to Love X Revenge, a place where love is tested, betrayal is revealed, and justice comes when it is least expected. Today's story is about pride, secrets, and the moment a lie collapses in front of everyone. The dining room smelled of roasted meat, fresh bread, and expensive wine. The long table was covered with a white tablecloth Elena had ironed herself early that morning. Plates of salads, hot dishes, desserts, and fruit were carefully arranged in perfect order. Every detail had been planned by her. She had spent 3 days preparing this dinner. The anniversary of her husband Anton's promotion was important for him, and Elena wanted everything to be perfect. His colleagues, relatives, and friends were all invited. Elena wiped her hands on her apron and glanced around the room once more. Everything looked flawless. In the living room, guests were laughing. Glasses clinked. Someone turned on soft music. Her father, Viktor Petrovich, had just arrived and was sitting near the window, talking politely with Anton's mother, Galina Sergeyevna. Elena carried the last dish to the table and smiled. "Dinner is ready," she announced. Everyone gathered around the table. Compliments started immediately. "This looks amazing," one of Anton's colleagues said. "Elena, you've outdone yourself," another added. Galina Sergeyevna raised her eyebrows and smiled in a strange, tight way. "Well," she said loudly, "when my son sends good money to support the household, of course the table will look rich." Elena paused. For a second she thought she had misheard. Anton looked down at his glass. Viktor Petrovich frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" Elena asked calmly. Galina waved her hand casually. "Oh, don't be modest, dear. Anton told us that your father sends money every month so you can keep the house like this." The room became quieter. Elena slowly turned toward her husband. "Anton," she said. He shifted in his chair. "Well, I might have mentioned something like that." Her stomach tightened. Her father looked confused. "What money?" Viktor Petrovich asked. Galina laughed. "Oh, come now. Don't pretend. Anton told us you send funds for groceries, furniture, and even today's dinner." Elena's eyes widened. "Dad, what money did you send to my mother-in-law for this table?" "I organized everything myself, paid for everything myself." Her voice was calm, but everyone could feel the tension rising like a storm cloud. Viktor Petrovich blinked. "I didn't send any money," he said slowly. Silence fell across the table. Someone coughed. Galina's smile froze. Anton cleared his throat. "Well, maybe there was a misunderstanding." Elena leaned back in her chair. "A misunderstanding?" she repeated quietly. Her eyes moved from her husband to his mother. Galina crossed her arms. "Anton told me your father supports your lifestyle." "That's what he said." Elena looked directly at Anton. "Did you tell your mother my father sends money to our house?" Anton looked trapped. "It wasn't exactly like that." "Then how was it?" Elena asked. He rubbed his forehead. "I just didn't want Mom to think I was spending too much." "So you blamed my father?" Elena said. "No, I just exaggerated a little." Galina suddenly straightened. "Wait," she said sharply. "If Viktor Petrovich didn't send money, then who paid for all this?" Elena gestured around the table. "I did." Her voice was firm now. "Every dish, every bottle, every decoration." Galina scoffed. "That's impossible. Anton told me you barely work." Elena laughed softly. "That's another interesting story." The guests exchanged glances. Anton shifted uncomfortably. "Elena, maybe we shouldn't discuss this now," he murmured. "Oh, we absolutely should," she replied. She stood up slowly. "You see, for the last 2 years I have been running an online design business. I earn more than enough to manage this house." Galina looked shocked. Anton looked even worse. "You never told Mom," he said quietly. "You asked me not to," Elena replied coldly. A murmur spread among the guests. Galina's face turned red. "So all this time, I thought my son was the provider." Elena tilted her head. "Why would you think that?" "Because Anton told me he pays for everything." Galina snapped. Anton stared at the table. Elena sighed. "Well, apparently Anton enjoys creative storytelling." Her father finally spoke. "So my name was used in these stories." Anton looked up helplessly. "I didn't mean any harm." Viktor Petrovich's voice became stern. You involved me in a lie I knew nothing about. The room felt heavy. Galina suddenly slammed her hand on the table. This is ridiculous. A wife shouldn't humiliate her husband like this in front of everyone. Elena looked at her calmly. I'm not humiliating him. I'm correcting misinformation. A few guests tried to hide smiles. Anton whispered, Elena, please. But she continued. For example, my father didn't pay for this dinner. I did. She picked up a receipt from the sideboard. And if anyone is curious, here are the invoices. She placed the papers on the table. Several guests glanced at them. Galina looked stunned. Anton looked pale. But that means, Galina murmured. Yes, Elena said. It means the person who cooked, planned, and paid for this evening is the same person you said contributes nothing. A long silence followed. Finally one of Anton's colleagues raised his glass. Well, he said carefully, in that case, Elena deserves the biggest thank you. Others quickly agreed. To Elena, glasses lifted. Galina did not join. Anton avoided eye contact. Elena sat down slowly. Her father looked proud. You always were strong, he said quietly. She smiled faintly. Across the table, Galina finally spoke again. Anton, she said coldly, you lied to me. Anton swallowed. I just didn't want arguments. Well, congratulations, Elena said softly. You got a bigger one. Some guests chuckled nervously. The tension broke slightly, but the damage was done. Galina stared at the table. For the first time that evening, she had nothing to say. And Anton realized something uncomfortable. The image he had built, the successful son supporting his household, had collapsed in front of everyone. Meanwhile, Elena calmly poured herself a glass of wine. Because sometimes revenge isn't loud. Sometimes it's simply the truth spoken at the perfect moment.